Okay, so we're going to continue with our Modigliani style portrait that we started in last session. And if you can see, I've completed all the paint on the face, also putting some of the hair on and completing the shirt. What I want to look at today is how we work into, first of all, the background, and then putting final detail into the face to make the features stand out so that we get a picture looking pretty much like that sort of style, the Modigliani style there. First of all, I'm going to look at the background. One thing I want you to notice in Modigliani's pictures, the backgrounds are very, very plain. There's not a lot of detail in at all, and they're usually based on one colour. However, what I do want you to notice is that colour just changing intensity, going lighter and darker in places. It's not just a flat colour. So I want to show you how to go about doing that on your picture here. Also want you to think, when you decide on doing this, what colour do you want to use? If you want to create quite a sombre mood, use blues or greens, cool colours. If you want to create a livelier mood, a happier mood, reds, oranges, yellows. Totally up to you. It's up to you what sort of emotion you put across on your final picture. But basically, what you have to do is to start with, I'm going to go for blue. To start with, when you're doing the background, just like with putting the paint on for the actual flesh colour of the face, you just literally block the colour in to begin with. Notice there how I'm painting up to the edge. And also notice I'm trying, where possible, to keep my brush going in the same direction. Now, see there, that goes a little bit deeper there. It doesn't matter. Don't worry about that, because once we've got all the colour on, we're actually going to work into that. And there will be a slight undulation in the colour, etc. That's around there. So then working on that. But yeah, it is important that you have your brush strokes. I don't want to see some going that way, some going that way, blah, 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 blah. I want to see it all trying to go in the same direction. So literally just whacking the paint on backwards and forwards. Again, you're stroking it on, brush strokes, going up there. Yes, when you get to the bottom edge there, you will need to go in a different direction just to fill that in, but you can then work into that by taking those brush strokes up there, so that we end up with something like that. I'll just take it a little bit higher. I'm only going to do one side, just to show you there. So we go on there. So then once you've got that on, what I would like you to consider is how we can make the background a lot more interesting than just a plain colour. And the way you do it is, first of all, we can get a bit of black and we can start working into some of the background with the black. And what you'll notice is that the black will mix with the blue. So it's not going to come out of pure black, but because this is water-based paint, it will mix together quite nicely. So we can get like a darker bit there, and as we run out of paint on the brush, it will gradually go back towards the blue. And then just working into that. Again, remember, you can just use water just to work into that, to spread it out a bit more evenly, so you can have that going there. We might want some places where we want it to go lighter. What do? Get some white. So perhaps towards the top here, I want to make a lighter blue, so we can paint that on there and just build up that contrast there, and then work it in so that you don't get any real definition. I don't mind if you get some lines of the brush strokes showing, that's quite nice. But that there, a bit more black down here, that gives a much more interesting background. Some of you might want to get carried away and think, oh, I'm going to put a little bit of red in, a bit of pink in. Let's do it. If that's what you want to do, you know, make it a bit more interesting like that. You see there, it starts to mix immediately to create more of a purple colour. But again, that adds a little bit of extra, what we call visual texture to our work. Get the white again. But that is a much more interesting background now to that picture than it would have been just painting on the blue. Okay, so that's your background. I also mentioned that we'd look at bringing out the detail. Now, there's two ways you can do this. Basically, again, if we look at Modigliani's work, you can very clearly see that what he's done is he's used some black outlining. Not solid all the way around, but just in places, just to highlight some of that detail. Now, if you're feeling brave enough, get yourself a fine paintbrush and literally just using some black, you should be able to, just working with the tip of the brush, you should be able to just do that. You know, we can pick out the eyebrow shape. If the paint breaks up in places, it doesn't matter. You can certainly do that there. Notice what I'm doing with my hand. I'm resting it on the actual picture. So obviously there it would mean that the paint needs to be dry when you do that. But you can certainly work into the features like that to get on. And you can put, you know, a few simple lines in the hair if you want to. We might have quite an uneven edge to the hair there. Now you can use that just to bring out that detail coming round there. You might not be confident enough though with a paintbrush. You might find that you get the lines too thick. So what's the answer? Black pencil crayon. Sharpen the pencil crayon and you can get a very similar in strength line just using that. Some people would say, no, you can't draw on top of a painting. Well, my answer to that is, why on earth not? I don't have a problem with that at all. If it gets you the result that you want, go ahead and draw on it. Okay, if you end up with a decent picture like that, you can do that. And some of you might even want to, if you feel you need to make that a bit darker, there's actually nothing wrong with adding a little bit of darkness, a little bit of shade round there. And that, now I've used black there, you might want to use blue. Do it. If that's what you want to do, do it. And that might make it a little bit more interesting for you. Totally up to you how you do that. So then you can work into that and gradually build up the finished picture. Okay. Let's see what you can do.